Good morning.
Morning.
The dog says good morning too.
Hi, Amy.
How are you guys doing? How has this
Yes.
week been? I have a head cold right now, so I'm just a little lethargic and kind of croupy right now. Yeah. Yeah. Coffee this morning. That's our first brekkie. Scott wasn't listening to this yesterday, but I've been doing like this super deep dive into protein intake and feeding windows and various different things. And it's been actually really interesting finding um, the statistical amount of like how much protein we actually need versus when it becomes pointless of consuming. So, anywho,
I just drink my coffee.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just like half out of it this morning. Audrey, morning, Cat. How are you guys doing? How are your journeys going? Like, how have things been? This week, Scott and I have been really honing in on tiny habits and going through them and implementing them. Candace, oh, I may have to sneeze. Sorry, y'all. And implementing them into daily life to really utilize the biggest benefit we can from them.
She's asked me to start tracking what I eat. So I've been working on how I'm going to figure that out because I do a lot of meat mush, which is just a conglomeration of stuff. So I think what I'm going to have to end up doing,
You have to measure everything before you
weigh everything I measure by like food type. So there's, pork, I got chorizo, I got chicken sometimes, I got ribeye, and then I might have like a flank steak. Chop all that up, like a dozen eggs, and I gotta weigh the cheese I put in too. And then I weigh the whole thing together and figure out, like, add all those calories up. And then when I weigh it,
Here's the thing. So,
it's gonna do some work. Good thing I'm good at math.
yeah, funny.
I'm good at math.
Yeah, I know you are. I'm not.
You are
Uh,
good at math, huh? Yeah.
Peggy, hi, Lynn. Hey, Lynn, I just put up a meetup for next month
Excuse me.
on the website if you want to check that out. It's going to be almost at Anchorage. It's Anacortes. There's some hiking, walking we're going to do over there.
And then is it Poirier on the river?
Yeah, we're going to go to Mount Vernon, have Poirier, but you don't have to do that. But just
Yeah.
so you know, anybody that is in the Washington area, we're doing a meetup. I believe it's on the 20th. Don't quote me on it. It's on the website. I put it up there. Where we're going to do a hike walk first. And I think it's like 3.5, 4 miles. And then, or is it 3 miles? I don't know. My brain.
Yeah. To me, we actually looked. It's not, flat on the map. It's actually flat. Right.
Like I'm not.
Yeah. Like a map. So
Hi, Pula. Hi, Lori. Which dog is the director's chair? You can't see it, but it is in front to my right. It's the chair I used to use when I would sit here, but I realized it sits way too low. It is white, which I'd never normally buy, and all the black dogs want to sit on it now.
nobody's in there right now.
No. Scott put the trash can in front of the dog door to keep Olive from barking her little brain off.
Now she's just pacing back and forth like, what do I do with myself? I can't go chase
Yeah.
something.
What are your thoughts on eat until your ideal weight in protein in grams? Okay, so there's a gentleman named I call him Dr. Mike. That's what he goes by on Renaissance periodization. It's about weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
However, he does have stuff about protein and things. And I watched a video, I think it was from a few days ago, that he brought in a exercise physiology research scientist dude. I do not remember his name. And so he pretty much combed over the literature about what we need for protein. And it's shown for the average person, not a bodybuilder, but an average person, that 0.61 grams per pound of body weight there's no benefit going above that. Now, if you're weightlifting,
Body weight or lean body weight?
no, body weight.
Body weight.
Yeah,
okay.
Per pound. Now, it's slightly different if you're someone that's overweight, like more than just 20 to 40 pounds overweight. But I found that really interesting that they said that there is really no difference. They talked about people doing steroids, testosterones, and stuff for weightlifting. I don't really care about any of that, but my bad. It's very, very interesting. So I've adjusted to using my lean body mass because of my scale. There is still some level of error that's going to happen unless you do something like a DEXA scan. Right now, I'm doing 1.5 grams per pound of lean body mass. No,
Kilogram or
per
pound?
pound.
Per pound.
I know it's confusing. It's
Grams per pound. Okay.
well, no, there's grams per kilograms, and then there's grams per pound. Don't ask me why they don't do it. Okay, this is a side note. The reason they do grams is because grams is what's used to measure how much energy density is in a gram of protein, not an ounce. So that's why it's grams per kilogram and grams per pound, even though it's metric and imperial. It's you just have to be really specific about it.
Huh. There was I believe, a Mars exploratory vehicle that crashed into Mars because of, unit measurements.
These are the quick pro quo / commentary I get all day. Laney, it's midnight Sunday. You are 10 o'clock happens, I'm like ready for bed. Lisa, things are going well this week. I ordered an A1C and a fasting insulin from Own Your Own Lab, so I don't have to account to anyone but myself.
Nice. Okay.
The fasting insulin is a very, very good metric to see how insulin resistant you still might be. Because most of you guys realize A1C is just a 3-month snapshot, and you can have a low A1C and still be a diabetic. Your fasting insulin is one of the better ones to tell how still insulin resistant you are. So, I mean, take heed though that if you are type 2 diabetic with good A1C, that's good. And it may just take quite a bit longer to repair your insulin resistance and your body to repair your pancreas and things like that from the type 2 diabetes. Peggy, my cousin just complained to me that she has gained back an inch in her waist. We've been carnivore together for almost 2 months. How do I encourage her? See, just
Well,
honestly, two ways of going about this. Depends on how close you are to your cousin. If you were my cousin, I would want you to just to be direct. Like, if you're gaining weight back, then something's going on. Let's take a look at this together. Or that's going to be like personality type 2, because I would rather someone just be straight up with me versus dodging around it. But it's going to be her personality too. You could always point her to my video. Which one was it? There's the Why Isn't Carnivore Working one, but the one after I think is
we should be
your
talking about this. Why aren't people talking about this?
carnivores. What carnivores aren't talking about.
Right.
Anyhow,
About a week ago.
yeah. So I personally would prefer someone being direct with me, because that's me.
I would also ask a simple question. If you've been doing carnivore for 2 months, and I have a friend, he's been doing carnivore for like 6 months now. He hasn't really lost weight, but he says that he feels 1,000 times better with what he's eating than what it was before. So, do you feel better than when you were 2 months ago? Is it worth it just to do that?
It's slightly different for women though. I don't
It
know,
is.
because there's always been this huge emphasis
Well,
on weight,
it is much harder for women because you do have,
and it's harder to lose too. By the way,
yes,
I love all the men
it is.
comments.
It is very unfair.
It's fair. It's just how it is. I mean, it just
Yeah,
is what it is.
it's true.
We get the ability to
We go to
bring
jail more often.
we get the ability to bring life in the world, and there are impacts of that.
Mhm.
Jesus.
It's true.
Y'all, if you were a fly on the wall in our house and heard our conversations, you would just die laughing. Hi, B. How are you doing? Cherry.
Hello.
Mary, hi. Wondering if you tried the horseradish with mustard we talked about a few weeks ago. I have not.
Mm.
I actually forgot about it, but I'm going to add it to the to-do because we got some more horseradish. If you like horseradish, Boar's Head has the horseradish vinegar salt. It is refrigerated, right?
It's
Don't
refrigerated, yeah.
don't buy the kind that is not refrigerated, because there are, even though it is Boar's
Well,
Head
the stuff that's not refrigerated has seed oils.
and stuff in
So
it.
pretty much, actually, looking at all the stuff that you put in for sauces, if it's not refrigerated, it has the seed oil in it. It's like a preservative with other stuff they mix.
Yeah. No wonder I get so confused. What is a good insulin resistant number? So, what is testing the fasting insulin is when you are obviously fasting, what your insulin levels are. There is, I think you want to be under. Don't quote me because it's been a while since I've looked at it. I believe you want to be under like 4.6 or something like that. It has it on there, but the higher you are, the more resistant your body is to picking up insulin. It's not a perfect metric because, like anything, our blood work is just a very pinpoint snapshot in time, but it's at least a good tool to know if you're heading the right direction, so you're trending. Any cool fantasy books you're reading or listening to? He Who Fights with Monsters.
I'm
I
enjoying that
finished the
series.
10th book of that one.
I'm on number one.
I finished the 10th book. I'm waiting for book 11. And then the other book is, what was that one? Oh, my brain. Well, currently I'm listening to The Court of Thorn and Roses. I'm on like the 5th book of that one. That's a slightly smutty book, according to my sister. It's a good book for women. Uh,
Women will like it.
yeah. It was $13 for a fasting insulin test. Don't know why doctors make a big fuss about ordering it.
Yeah, that's pretty affordable.
Because doctors have turned into what they think insurance will pay for, and they don't want to do anything about that because it's just more work for them, so they don't want to do it.
It's very, very hard to get back to what is patient care
Yeah.
versus what's the insurance going to allow.
For those of you that don't know, Scott and I's business is in home health care.
Mhm.
And there are many times that we have companies that depending on the type of insurance you have, you'll have certain authorized visits. So what your insurance will pay for ahead of time for therapy, for like physical occupational therapy. And a lot of times the companies will come back and say, hey, the insurance company only gave 4 visits, so we want you to only see the patient 4 times. That's not how it works. Our therapists write the frequency on what they need, not what insurance tells them. But a lot of people
Yeah.
still
And
hold
that
on to
literally
that.
just happened. They said, hey, can it just be 4 visits? I'm like, no, we have to do it by the frequency of the patient need. And the occupational therapy board would push back against that if we were just doing that. So please go ask for authorization. Turned out they authorized 7 visits, not the 4, which is what we asked for. So
It's a
that's insurance, and that's what doctors and really the
yes.
medical healthcare community has really kind of guidelined themselves on what the insurance will pay for. You just have to push. You have to ask. That's it
You have to be your best advocate in
for
any
yourself.
kind of health stuff. The best advocate. Something I tell the doctors, although my doctor doesn't really push back anymore, is listen, order it. If they say no, then I'll deal with it then. And that's what I count it.
Yep.
If they say no, then I'll deal with it. But I want it put in.
Yep.
Nikki, 292. Started applying myself with keto, came down from 360. Helping Carnival take me to my goal of 135. Hate the slow shed, but Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah.
Yes. Good
And the
job.
thing is too, like always the whole adage or the thought is people who lose weight quickly, they usually gain it back. And the reason is they never actually address how they got there. They just do these like crash diets, lose the weight, but they never change their habits. So they go back to their way they were eating, their habits, and they gain it all back and wonder what happened. So slow is actually better because it allows you to
Mhm.
adapt your habits and figure out what isn't working and what is working.
Yeah.
Hi, Joanne. Good morning. Can I use air fryer to cook chicken? It's just too delicious, and I'm not sure if it's gonna change the meat nutrition. No,
No.
you're fine using air fryer. People a lot of times they tell me they use air fryer cooking a steak from frozen and it's still delicious.
Mhm.
Go for it. You are just fine. I get confused as some say per weight and others say ideal weight and others lean mass. There are a bazillion different ways of doing it. And this is why I think it's confusing because they'll say gram per weight of ideal weight, gram per weight of lean body mass, or gram per kilogram of it. You just have to, here's the thing. This is what I'm going by. I'm doing a gram or 1.5 grams per pound. No, it's kilogram. Good Lord, I'm confusing you too. 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass. That puts me at about 125 grams protein. It's not if I do 123, I'm a failure, or if I do 119, it puts me in the ballpark of it.
I'm not terrible that I just don't look it up for myself. I'm like, just tell me what to eat. I don't spend the time.
You also don't have weight to lose, so
Well,
maybe
yeah.
5 pounds, maybe. Mary, what's your take on potassium? Someone I know had too much potassium when checking their labs. They use element electrolytes. Um, I have no issue with it. We can, if your potassium's too low or too high, it is a extremely narrow range of where our potassium actually should lie. Our body is very, very good about keeping ourselves in that. Now, if they were using Element, were they having 3 or 4 packs a day? That would be my question. If you're doing 1 or 2 a day, unless there's something else going on, there's no reason I could foresee any issues. Okay. However, if you're doing 4, 5, 6, plus taking multivitamin, plus sneaking other stuff in, then you can. But again, it's a very narrow range our body has for potassium. Interesting enough, if your potassium's low, you have stroke-like symptoms.
I also want to bring up, so we did this like when we first started out almost 2 years ago. We did this like standard American diet versus this, right? And we did something about
Wendy's versus a ribeye, I think.
Yeah. And like a standard Wendy's meal was something like 1,300% of your required daily potassium
Correct. In one meal.
in one meal. So, I mean, if you kept doing that, usually you just, discharge it in some way out of your body. But sorry, I keep thumping.
You do.
Usually your body will just get rid of it. But if you're doing element and maybe have one off carb meal, could actually hit that little blood test.
Yeah. Again, it's a narrow range. Usually if you fall outside of it, something else is going on. Have you tried any new cooking gadgets? The skies have cleared, so I'll be trying the Inferno Grill today with some fresh burgers and a ribeye.
Ooh, that sounds good.
New kitchen gadgets. Okay, well, yeah, but this isn't really carnivore. We got a new coffee pot, which I love because it actually has a timer set thing. But more than that, we got a coffee grinder.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother-in-law, I saw the one he used. You have to like measure the beans out. This one has like a little reservoir, and you set the timer and push the button, and it grinds.
Gives you the exact amount every time.
Yeah, it does like the burr grinding the beans.
Actually, most of them probably give you the exact amount, whatever you said. But it's nice, fresh coffee every day.
It's delicious.
Can set it up.
I'm finding I really do like the fresh coffee grounds over the other ones too. BJ, if you want correct information on protein consumption, you need to watch Dr. Lon Lehman or Gabrielle Lyon.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is there's a lot of different thinking out there, and grams per pound, grams per kilograms, blah, blah, blah. It's the best. Why they do the different is depending on what literature they're reading. But it is, you just really need to look at what you need. The ratio of grams should be lower if using weight than ideal weight. The number of grams should be lower. Yes, I do 1.5 grams per kilogram of lean body mass. Ideally, that's what you want to do. If you're someone overweight, you do not want to do the 0.61 grams per pound of body mass, like pounds, because at, let's say, 250 for easy numbers, you're going to eat way more than what you need because, what did he call it? Like just having all the extra weight. Did you ever do a couple of days of just eggs? No, I manage eggs for brekkie, and that's about it. I don't really do eggs any other time. I just have never liked them. Lisa, there should be some reason for gaining inch in the waist, though. Maybe some carbs, seed oil slipping back in. Worth the chat. I agree. Something's happening.
Yeah. Seed oils might cause inflammation, retain water.
Yeah. Yeah. Tracking. That's why I say tracking it can be your friend. Not that you have to do it all the time,
right?
But it can definitely be your friend because then it's like, oh, I thought this only happened once, and actually it happened like 7 times this week, and I just didn't realize things like that. Good morning. I'm sorry, y'all. I have a head cold, so I'm just a little lethargic this morning. Thank you for sharing your journey, helping so many of us struggling with weight issues.
Thank you for following.
Mary, just wondering. I love Element 1 a day for me. Not sure about her. Yeah. It's just like
a lot of it depends on your activity level. If you're not being that active, you don't need it as much. But if you're being like when we played an hour of tennis, like
I probably should have had 2 that day, and I did not, to be honest.
And I needed it too. I can definitely feel my fatigue. I can feel my kind of joint pain.
But the reason for if you're moving more and sweating, especially summer and warming up, is you lose some through just the sweat in our skin, our whole electrolyte, things like that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just fading. Aberbear. You corrected me on this, and I'm doing terrible. Can't beat fresh coffee. Yeah, I actually like it so much more. It doesn't taste as bitter from what we had been.
Actually, you're right. It doesn't. I actually just
pre-ground
a tiny dab of butter. I was thinking this morning.
Try black.
Black.
I might try cutting mine down to half a teaspoon of heavy cream. Maybe. Barbara, what brand is your coffee pot? It is the Ninja.
We have pretty much all Ninja stuff.
I don't know why. This is just what we ended up on.
Ninja Crockpot, Ninja Coffee Maker. We had a Ninja Instapot.
We gave that away. Ninja, I don't know. It does like an XL cup something. You can use regular coffee grounds. You can do K cups. Not that we use them, but it'd be nice if someone came over and they wanted something else. Greetings from Seattle. For anybody in Washington, we are doing a meetup
Yeah.
in
April.
Almost said March. Thank you. Good thing you're here. April 20th, I believe, which is a Saturday. We're going to do a walk hike, and then we're going to have in Anacortes, and then we're going to do lunch at Poirier on the river. It is on my website.
Nice steakhouse. It was
It is.
actually the very first place we went for a meetup last year.
Yes, their steaks are delicious. You can find it on my website, carnivorsme.com. Yeah. I need to go to bed. Judy, good morning, Judy. Chrissy says, please share more of your workouts. We are in the process of it.
Sorry about that. We did daily vlog for almost 3 months.
Something like that.
Yeah, December to February. And really the channel, it wasn't really growing. People weren't really watching the videos. So some people really express they love, like, get up in the morning, watch Amanda do her elliptical. They do it themselves. It was really inspiring. But I think overall we kind of changed the format. So
Well, it was wearing me out is what was happening. I was having to edit 7 days a week, and it was just honestly wearing me out, having to just constantly record and
very, very kind of stressful. Always do that. Always make sure we have something recorded. So what we're trying to do is record some of our exercises like beginning of the month and end of the month and putting that in a monthly update.
you can keep talking. Sorry, someone asked about our coffee pot, and I was gonna find the link for that, for which one we got.
Well, why don't you? Okay, let's go back to the live. It's
Okay,
fine.
I'll just wait till the
We'll
end.
put it in the description.
No, just wait till the end and I'll
Okay.
get it when I can find it. Anywho, so the plan is Scott and I are actually going to today sit down and adjust the workouts. We were trying 6 days a week, and honestly, that sixth day, which was Saturday, was too much for me. I want to go hiking and do long.
It's hard to work out actually when hiking for
It
6 miles and the dogs and.
or if I did it beforehand and then I'm feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
So we're going to drop down to 5 days a week. I actually need to sit down and work out the new, they call it a meso something or other. Anyways, it's through the Renaissance periodization guy. I really like his, it's a web-based app, and that's what I've been using for the workouts. So we're going to change to 5 days a week this week and start recording them again. What tracking app do you use and why? I use Chronometer. I don't have my phone. Chronometer. I did do the free version for a while and then decided to pay like the $55 for a year. I think it was worth it, but it helps me keep track of what I'm eating. And the big thing lately is I'm on the struggle bus for getting protein in. I am not getting enough protein, and this is why I was doing the deep dive into protein intake with muscle building and weightlifting and things, and as active as I'm being. Uh, I really need to get at least 125 grams a day, and I am not. So we've done a few different things where I'm probably going to start doing 3 meals a day, adding in the beef isolate protein shake once to twice a day, depending on how things are going, just to get enough protein. Because my bacon and eggs in the morning, there's only like 19 grams of protein for breakfast, which is not enough to fuel me protein-wise the rest of the day. Candace, my birthday is Friday, and in the past couple years, the celebration food sets me off track for months. This time, I just want to go hiking and then a steakhouse for a ribeye. I'll probably have a salad. I like using the vegetables because the Poirier on the river, they have delicious, delicious collard greens. I think using that as your treat, having like a salad, like obviously no croutons and things like that, is a beautiful way to do it. To treat yourself without treating yourself, if you know what I mean. You can do this, Candace. Just one step at a time. Oops. I will find the coffee pot and at the end and link it. Yeah. I'm finding that I really am enjoying the fresh coffee a ton more. Is the calorie video doing well? I watched it twice. It was helpful. I still giggle about the Bank of Amanda. Yeah, it's actually doing quite well. There is a lot of
It's a lot of controversy because people don't really talk about it. They're like eating. Okay.
Well, it's because it's become
Here's my
taboo.
perspective. the people that started Carnivore Channel years and years ago were mostly guys, and guys just have it easy losing weight. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. And so their perspective is eat until you're full, eat until meat doesn't taste good anymore. Just it's no problem. And that's not really actually good advice for women that are trying to lose weight
Or binge eaters.
or binge eaters who don't like.
No, our off button is broken, and I've had some guys say, "Well, doing carnivore fixes it." It's a psychological thing. It's not. Yes, there's a physiological
Right.
um, thing that happens, but it's mostly
You're
psychological with
more
binge eaters.
satiated on carnivore because of the fat, but you can still eat too much. And it's a very good video because it's really discussing something like that because there's a lot of people that have hit a stall. And if you've hit a stall and it's not going the right way, have a look at what you're consuming. I mean, that's why we're talking a lot about the protein and stuff because we're working out. I actually have to increase my protein a lot. Yes, I have
Yeah.
4 pieces of bacon, 4 eggs in the morning, so twice what she does. I still need more protein,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, those are sticks.
I thought you were about to say those are some guns.
Guns? No, those are sticks with a caterpillar.
Oh boy. Anywho, it can be taboo because a lot of times what happens is when people hear calories, they go to the 80s, 90s mindset of restrict, restrict, restrict,
Right.
restrict.
Eat less, move more, and it's not that. I mean,
It's the restricting mentality, and that's not
yeah,
what to use it for. It's just to be aware of what you are eating. Because I know there, and I'm not going to say anybody, but there are people who say, calories have no value in the human body. However, it has yet to be disproved for a single thing on this planet. The first law of thermodynamics applies to everything. And if energy cannot be created nor destroyed and only change form, well, if food is energy, because it is, we can eat too much. And usually it's psychological. It's not a physiological thing. And a lot of people who don't have a lot of weight to lose, they don't understand the physiological drive to eat, or sorry, the psychological drive to eat. They are only going from physiological. With love and live workout, you would probably have giggles galore watching Scott and I try to work out.
okay. A few weeks ago, it'd be really hilarious because I had long underwear on and socks and a flannel shirt and shorts
Socks,
because it was in the garage and I'm like, I'm freezing cold. And she's like sweating. She's like all hot. And she's like, man, I'm just.
long socks with sandals on.
You ever like have those people that they walk around with shorts in the summer and they got socks up to their knees and they got flip flops on? That was me before I got married.
Yes. Do you think the 80-20 rule for fat versus protein is accurate, or is it 65-35 a decent balance? Figuring out how much fat to actually eat is kind of rough. So I used to aim for like 60-40 or 50-50. I've actually set the ratios aside because I find that sometimes they're just more confusing. The chronometer app, I think even the free version does it. You can set your protein, like you can manually put it in there, and you can set your carbs and you can set your fat intake. And I realized what I was thinking that I needed for fat, I was going to try 80 grams or less. With my protein intake and everything else, I actually need 90 grams of fat a day. So I don't have my phone. I don't remember what I set it exactly to.
Let me go get it.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
But if you use the chronometer app, you can actually kind of play around with that and see about how many average calories, if you stick spot onto that, how much you're gonna get. Because you don't want to eat too little. Okay. So I've just set aside the ratio rules, and they just honestly are more confusing than helpful for myself. It's cloudy here but no rain, hoping to go hiking at Battleground Lake. That'll be really pretty, I bet. Really pretty.
Mhm.
Proper rest between workout is important, so I think going back 5 days is a great idea. Yeah, the nice thing about this app is the way he has it set. He has where it ensures you have a minimum of 1 day between muscle sets. So even though we work out 2 days in a row, it's not the same muscle group to have that rest, which I really like.
And we kind of have things we have to rejigger it because we were doing hikes and then coming back and doing workouts at 4:30 and doing lunges, which is just
Very hard, very hard. Going to try an egg fast to try to affect my insulin resistance. What are your thoughts? I am not a fan of doing fasts. Okay, we're going to talk in myself because this is me. I'm not a fan of doing fasts. I'm not a fan of doing sardine fasts or butter fast or anything like that, because I want to develop habits that are going to follow me for the rest of my life, not something that's a crash, do this to lose weight fast, solve something kind of thing, because that's always what I used to do, is doing things that led me down bad mental thinking paths of restrict, restrict, restrict. And so for me, fasting, it's a no-go. Yeah, I do intermittent fasting, which I'm probably going to adjust from that, but I'm not personally a fan of doing sardine fast or butter fast, or I don't even know what other ones there are out there now. It's it leads to restrict mentality and get it done faster mentality.
Mhm.
Just not a fan of that. You need more meat for breakfast, yeah. And we have a ton of New York steaks, so I'm gonna aim for slightly leaner meats versus like a New York versus a ribeye. Not that I'm never gonna have a ribeye again. And I'm thinking that maybe doing like half a ribeye at lunch and the other half at dinner, something like that, trying to spread my protein out throughout the day and see how that goes. I'm postmenopausal and not fat adapted yet after 6 months. I'm curious, Lynette, have you checked your ketones? And if so, what they have been? And also, have you tracked what you've been eating? Not obviously for the past 6 months, but at least for the past few weeks. Um, Ketosis happens usually unless you are a type 2 diabetic using insulin or just a severe type 2 diabetic within 2 to 4 weeks. Most people should be there. I always go by I don't count calories, but calories count. Yeah, it's like, when people say counting calories, it's like that I can have I just imagine someone sitting at a table being like, "I can have this little bite of this cookie, but not this one," and that's what I think of calorie counting. I think it should be considered measuring your joules, Joules. It's
Yeah,
just a metric of energy intake.
energy. How much you're
Yeah.
spending and how much you're
So,
consuming.
I'm measuring my joule intake. That's it.
She had a friend in Allison years ago that would like literally, oh, I just ate 2 cookies. I've got to go do the elliptical or run on the treadmill for 27.3 minutes. Like,
She
like
would. She would.
that's how she it was like a constant, like, this, and that's not how the body works. The body is constantly pulling and storing energy for whatever you need at the time.
But
I don't,
that also leads to restrict mentality too and the
yeah.
obsession. And I said in my last video, and it's very true, and I actually learned this in through the Tiny Habits coaching stuff, what we focus on, we head towards. If we're focusing on not having sugar or focusing on I got to burn that cookie off, our mind becomes obsessive about it. How many times have you guys experienced, I have, that I'm not going to do XYZ and buddy, that's all I can think about. And that's why I think it's understanding our energy intake, but not obsessing about it. Christopher, you guys are hilarious. Think you look great, Scott.
Hulk smash. No, thank you.
If you like, tuna is a great source of protein. We finally got some mayonnaise from Whole Foods, and I like tuna salad.
Mhm.
I will have to put pickles in it. That's my one thing is chopping up some pickles.
We can do dill relish. Yeah, make tuna
Mhm.
salad.
Well, I'm watching your videos. Thank you for the conversations. My husband's about 100% carnivore, has lost 80 pounds. That's amazing. I have been ketovore and have lost almost nothing. My off button is broken. Yes. And as I said before, if you guys read through the comments, you will see people, mostly men, there are some women, but they tend to have not been binge eaters. Doing carnivore does heal the physiological stops, but our
Mhm.
psychological overrides that. So if you're sitting there like, I don't know what my off is, what's wrong with me? I've been doing carnivore for a year. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a psychological habit we've developed that we've used food and we've just kind of carved this deep grained habit in our brain. We've used food for emotional support, whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
You know, anxious, sad, bored, depressed, whatever. We've reached for food so many times, the brain's like, hey, that helped last time. Let's do it again.
Tiny habits. We have not really talked about the book Tiny Habits, but that is the best way to start to change those and get better.
The best. And this is also why I say I'm not a fan of fasting, because if you're doing fasting for health reasons, not weight loss reasons, that's different. But for weight loss, not
Yeah, you want to be able to
a
sustain it.
fan.
I mean, carnivore is a way of eating that we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. So, want to track what you're eating, Use weight, not volume measurements. Weigh your food with a food scale. See what you're eating. Don't obsess about it. Just take a week and just write it down. Don't change anything. And then go from there at adjusting things. Maybe you are getting like 50 grams of protein a day and that's it. And that's not enough for just baseline.
Also, really look at the spices that you use for flavoring. We found a lot of spices have some
Seed
type of
oils,
seed oils in them or some other
the,
type of preservative that just,
the pre-mixed ones,
yeah,
like the straight up just plain like rosemary usually doesn't.
yeah.
Sticks with a caterpillar. Your arms. Oh, Lordy. Trish, I have a problem eating enough. I'm just not hungry most of the day. I need to lose about 50 pounds. At 55, it's difficult. Trish, same thing. For people who are not eating too, track what you're eating. Because here's the thing. You are going to be much better off focusing on getting protein in versus fat if you're having a hard time eating things. Also, if you are not like hungry and eating a lot, doing some kind of, and I hate to say the word, exercise, movement, walking, house cleaning, playing tennis, rollerblading, you name it, will actually help stimulate your appetite by moving around more. So if you're truly not eating enough, but first take a week and literally see what you're eating to see what needs to be adjusted. How can we adjust anything if we don't actually know what our baseline is? We'd just be guessing at it. I found that I am not most people. My thoughts behind the egg fast was not to restrict, but to rest and avoid insulin spikes from beef. Yeah, and it's doing, and that's why I said I always couch it in this is how I feel. There are various different reasons people want to do it, and no shame, guilt, or negativity towards that.
That's what you feel like you do.
Yeah, it's just not something that I, Amanda, would do. But avoid insulin spikes from beef. You should, unless you are eating an exorbitant amount of beef, you shouldn't be having spikes. I mean, if you zoom in enough on any graph, you're going to see a spike. But I would be really, really interested, Lynette, to know what your ketones and stuff are. Because as I said, beef is almost pretty much pure protein. And unless you're eating a lot of it,
Yeah, if you're eating like 3 pounds of beef a day,
then you're going to start seeing some issues. But if you're eating just proper amounts, most likely it's just insulin resistance. And keeping carbs and sugars out of the system is going to. Plus, just FYI, there's more carbs in an egg than beef. So many people are getting on Ozempic. So foolish, in my opinion. Just another fad, but a dangerous one.
well, not only it's not just a fad; it's an addictive drug. If you stop it, then not only do you gain all the weight back, but you gain more.
Yeah.
You are in a worse position than if you had just not taken it.
Yes. It's not addictive. It's physiologically addicting. The mechanisms that they use.
Yes.
It is extremely detrimental to do Ozempic and all the other ones for it. And again, here's my like sticker with this again. If you're doing Ozempic and it's doing the weight loss for you, we still never address how we got there, which means the second you stop it, of course you gain the weight back because you didn't ever address your habits. Or you, but they. I will say they, sorry. I recently made Laura's fast loaded chicken salad recipe. It was amazing. That sounds delicious. I had protein. I brought the Argentine shrimp at Costco and add those to meals since I like shrimp. I hate shrimp. It's like eating rubber for me. But that is a good idea. Picking something lean on the side is really, really important. So for those who like shrimp, that's actually a beautiful idea. What are you reading?
That was something we answered, or
No, it's not. He's responding for a couple weeks and try adjusting his. Yeah, I don't like the hard when people are like, just do 60, 80, 50, 50, whatever. Depending on what you're doing, it's going to vary what you need. And also weight, and that's why I like the lean body mass version the best. If you can get a decently accurate lean body mass.
it's also what your video was all about. It's age, gender, activity,
Menopause, post, pre, you name
all
it.
these factors really, your screen seems to count all that off. It's off screen. All those factors really affect like what you actually need, and it's just going to be a little bit of playing with it week after week until you fine tune like what you need for where you're at.
Yeah. The weight training is beautiful and wonderful. Something you might experience that I have. My waist is doing this, but the scale is not doing this as much as I would like. And it is because weight, a volume, like a pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat, but it takes up less space in the body. So just keep that in mind. I honestly track what you're eating for a week and go from there. I've also been digging into the, oh gosh, what is it called? Pretty much you do like 3 months that you cycle, and bodybuilders do this. They cycle 3 months of doing a cut, and then they do a little while of they up their intake, and it's to keep your metabolism from just crashing into nothing to where you're eating 1,000 calories and not losing weight. I haven't gotten very far into that deep dive, but I will. And if I find anything interesting, I'll share it. Good
Morning.
morning. Me too. Hate shrimp, most seafoods. Fish, I'm okay with. I probably should honestly have more. Shrimp, well, it's literally
I'm
like
sorry,
chewing on
I'm
a rubber
laughing
tire.
because we've said this so many times. We should have more seafood of whatever type for like 5 years before we even did carnivore. We're
Hey,
like, we should probably have more seafood. It's
if
healthy.
if we were rich, I would have lobster. All right, I'd take crab and lobster,
Honey, if
but it's
we were
very expensive.
rich, you'd have to hire somebody to cook it because I hate cooking lobster.
You did it one time and did it very
I
wrong.
did it very wrong. Okay, that's probably why we don't have that much seafood because I don't really know how to cook it very well.
And I grew up, my dad made steak all the time.
Yeah,
So
we definitely need it, but to be honest, we're probably not going to. We'll just have iodine.
wholeheartedly, honestly, probably not. It's
More
just,
coffee with iodine drop.
I'd rather have beef. Mary, my hardest time is when I'm sick. I eat horrible carbs, and then try to get back on program. I know I need to eat better, but have no desire to eat good when sick. So I'm technically sick. I mean, I am sick right now. Thankfully, I think it's just a pure head cold. I had a slight fever last night.
Mhm.
Prepping ahead of time. Today we've got some beef bones. We're gonna make some homemade beef bone broth for me. I told Scott I don't know if there's enough, but I'd like to make enough where we can start freezing it. That way, when I am sick or he's sick, we can just thaw it out. Boom. There is no decision to be made when we're sick. We tend to fall back into our old habits, whatever is easiest. And if it happens to be you've been a sugar carb addict, what's easiest is just not going against the grain and eating sugar and carbs. So for us, Marianne, I think for you is planning ahead and freezing some things that you can have when you're sick. Also, I don't like to chew a lot when I'm sick. So the protein shake, I was telling Scott this last night, the
Mhm.
protein shake and then the low
Yogurt.
carb yogurt, I think it's Too Good as the brand,
Mhm.
yogurt are really good things because it's got some protein in it as well that I don't have to chew when I'm sick. I had a stressful event yesterday and would have used that as an excuse to go out and eat carbs. Instead, I came home and had my normal no carb dinner, non-victory scale.
Good job,
Wonderful.
Candace.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Mhm.
Yes, to protecting your metabolic.
Metabolism?
Yes, thank you. I can't get the word out right now.
Speaking too long, I gotta quit.
Correct. Because I find that there's the people who are like, I eat 1,000 calories and I'm not losing weight, but this is what I am learning. And I will never pretend to be a expert on this because I think things change and we learn stuff. Is going through cycles of, I shouldn't say restricting, but cutting down our energy intake, but then allowing your body to get settled, having slightly more, and then kind of up and down with
Mhm.
that, I think is the best way because that's what bodybuilders do. I don't think it's healthy. I'm going to be honest that like in their off season, they gain like 30 to 50 pounds and then they drop it really quick, but can take a lesson from them for the fact that they easily go through these cycles and achieve their goals. So that's where I'm at. I'm allergic to shellfish. I'm allergic here to shellfish. Ew, not oysters. What is we had it on sushi forever ago. It was on top. It was like white.
You're talking about the eggs.
No, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, what's really funny is we don't like fish, but we love sushi.
I do love sushi.
Well, a good sushi place. That's really hard to find, actually.
Yes, I'm weird. Okay. I guess scallops are off. Oh, it was scallops. That's what it was. Oh, it was a texture thing with the scallops. Oh, gross.
That's okay. When she does anything like sauerkraut on something, I'm just, it's awful.
If your shrimp is like rubber, you're cooking it too long. Probably, but I have tried shrimp at restaurants, other people cooking breaded, fried, steamed, you name it. It's all
Actually, like
rubber.
shrimp. I don't have a problem with shrimp, but she hates
Yes.
it so much.
She would be a good protein source for you that you could add on the side of things. Because I don't like shrimp. I don't even like the smell of it. Sometimes you need to get your hormones straightened out. For some folks, need to do high-fat cholesterol first. Maybe instantly eggs helped me. Okay, I would eat more wild salmon, but my husband is totally okay with eating cans of sardines, salmon, and cod liver. I might eat a crispy salmon fillet. I'm a ribeye girl.
Yeah, definitely.
Me too. Good.
Actually, we're a short ribs couple of short ribs.
Does Scott do all the cooking?
Pretty
As
much
of
yes.
now, he does most of it because we grill food. I did make, I don't know what I made the other day. I made something, and Scott helped be my sous chef. I did most of the cooking before I got
It
so
was a
sick.
Philly cheesesteak mix we did.
Yeah, the beef with I made some onions and bell peppers for
Yeah,
him. No bread, obviously.
yeah. But sauteed
Mhm.
that and it was just,
Scott does most of the cooking now.
mhm,
Yes, I do the dishes now
mhm.
because we grill almost everything we eat. It's grilled.
Or Dutch oven, something like that.
Yeah. Scott's point out iodine drops very important. I started out a year ago, 3 drops, went up to 4, now at 5. Yeah. I started at 2, then 3, and now I'm at 4. Haddock with fried butter on high in a frying pan until crust. I'm not a fish person, but this is I don't think I've had haddock before.
Right.
Mm.
Maybe.
Wanda's with me. No way, scallops for the texture. I actually learned this about myself last year, that part of what drove my eating was I am a texture person with food, and that's why I liked cake so much, was the soft, creamy texture of it, and that's why I discovered a lot of my eating was driven by texture. All right, Peachy. Well, I'm starting all over again. I keep falling off track. I get so frustrated with myself. I keep sabotaging me. I am my own worst enemy. Peachy, have you gotten Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg yet? If you have not, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. That is the biggest lesson I could ever share with anybody else is the tiny habits. It's actually a really important skill to learn for us to scale back and do the tiny changes so we get a good foundation to build up on. What happens and what has happened my entire life is I would do lose it quick, weight, whatever diet fad stuff. I never had a solid foundation. And every time that I thought I was going somewhere, my foundation would crumble. I'd fall back down, gain everything I lost plus more back. And that's how I got to 360 pounds.
I would like to actually share an anecdote about that. So, for a long time in my life, I was not very good about brushing my teeth. And then got married. Hey, brush your teeth. You want to kiss? Got better about brushing teeth. And then a few months ago, we adopted Olive. And hey, you thief. See, you need a bigger cup. Anyways, so Olive is very demanding in the morning, and she will hop on me and walk on me, and 70 pounds of dog. So I got into the habit of just getting up and running down and feeding her, and then starting my day and not brushing my teeth first thing. And what we started doing now through the Tiny Habits book is kind of realizing, okay, how can I get that better? So we move my toothbrush to the other bathroom. I just go in and I pick it up and then I set it down and I go feed Olive. And that will grow into I brush my teeth and then I can feed Olive because I'm like, okay, this is actually more important than feeding Olive. But the Tiny Habits book, the reason why I bring this up is that it helps you look at those things that you're doing, why you're doing them, and how to make a tiny change that will replace a habit that you don't want. So, not brushing my teeth right away is a bad habit. I want to get rid of that. But, taking care of Olive, you know, I'm not replacing it. I'm still taking care of her. Sorry. Hopefully that was a decent example of tiny habits. I talked way too much.
It's fine, honey.
Miller!
Eileen. Transitioned from keto to carnivore a month ago, but I'm consistently gaining weight. I'm 68, 136. I was losing around 1 pound every 8 to 10 days. Help. Eileen, take this next week and then share with me next week tracking what you're eating. You don't change anything right now. Just track by weight, get a scale, and use like Chronometer is free. You can get it completely free. Track what you're eating, and then next week share with me what you've been eating because I guarantee. So what can happen if you transition from keto to carnivore is you've gotten used to feeling a certain fullness because you're having the vegetables and stuff in there. And then what happens is we start replacing it with more meat, which is very energy dense. So just track this next week and on Sunday come back, share it, and then we can kind of go over that. Oh, my throat is starting to get scratchy. Okay. Fish I like are typically pricey. The salmon can be. I'm still not a big fan in spite of being from Pacific Northwest. Crab, definitely love that. Yeah. I had lobster for the first time a while ago, and it was delicious. It's a lot easier than crab because you don't have to like dig it out. I love making homemade bone broth and freezing it in individual portions, gravies, soups. I do use Redmond's organic seasoning salt in it. Oh, I bet that's good with it. Hmm. It's all about texture for me. Highly recommend Tiny Habits. Yeah. Such a good book that changed my routine for the better. Yes. And as I said before, if we're focusing on things, because the book actually waits till the very end to teach you how to break bad habits. And the reason is if we focus on breaking a bad habit, then again, we're constantly perseverating. Like, I want to quit eating sugar. Like, let's say that's the bad habit. Well, then our entire life becomes about not eating sugar. So we're always focusing on sugar, and then it gets so hard to stop eating the sugar. So that's actually why they wait till the very end versus creating. And I did in my video yesterday, no, Friday. I gave the example of like if you're a Starbucks, you get a Frappuccino every morning at Starbucks versus making habits around not getting that. Like, I can't have that, saying I can't have it. You just create a habit that's adjacent to it of making your own coffee in the morning. So now there's no reason to get the Frappuccino. It's not that I can't have it. It's like there's just no reason to get it. So you're not perseverating on not having that. And that's really Tiny Habits doesn't, they slightly discourage focusing on bad habits. It's not you can't break them, it just makes it a little bit harder. I just started egg fast today. Hi, Marvin. Hello from East Texas. Go carnivore for life. You've got the energy that I do not have this morning from feeling sick. What type of protein powder are you using? Why did you start 4 drops of iodine? I use, it's upstairs, Equip. It's, if you look at any of my videos in the description, it's in there. There's I think a discount code in there too. The Equip brand, I have strawberry and peanut butter. I want to try the coffee. And I'm going to, oh, you're just going to go get it?
Look at that.
Okay. I'm gonna have at least once a day. Scott and I've been kind of tossing the idea around of going back to 3 meals a day to try to help with protein. 4 drops of iodine. So as an experiment to see how I feel, and I actually feel better having the 4 drops than the 3 than the 2. And next in a couple weeks, I'm gonna get blood work done and have my thyroid hormones and everything checked just to make sure that I'm not throwing them out of whack. But I feel better doing that because the whole thing is iodine regulates our internal metabolic system. It does a lot of other things too, and I just don't eat seafood and I don't use iodized salt, so I'm not getting it any other way. Sigma. Sorry, y'all, my voice is starting to fall apart. Here, thank you.
Meter also.
Oh, that's fine. It's, so this is the one that I use, the Equip. They have so this has stevia in it. It is not like most stevia stuff where it'll turn your mouth inside out. It's so sweet. I actually like it because it's very, very, very lightly sweetened with stevia. They have non-stevia, just the plain. I haven't tried it, but they have just the plain. Suggestion: don't mix this in with yogurt unless you use a water in a blender because it gets real chunky, real gross. I just use water and put it in the blender. I would blend it. Do not handshake it. And then
The Tiny Habits book.
You're asking about the book. This is Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. Excellent book. Hillbilly Belinda. Just found you starting carnivore today. So excited. Congrats, Belinda. Here. Oh.
Oops. That is, oh God, I'm not going to go that
Here. Like a drunk sailor.
Chronometer. It's an orange thing.
Yeah. Oops. Right there. You can do the free version. You do not have to do the paid. Belinda, go get yourself Tiny Habits. I promise you will not regret it. It'll be the best money you spend, and it'll make your journey so much, honestly, easier. Really.
Yeah.
A
lot of things easier.
Hi, Candy. Need to develop better habits. I just restarted my carnivore journey and documented it on my channel. Just started. Yeah, tiny habits. Tiny habits. Super duper important. Scott and I are actually in the process of creating a tiny habits workshop that in May. I'm going to start offering probably 4 times a month a workshop on tiny habits, as well as doing group coaching around tiny habits as well. It is
for weight loss and
carnivore weight loss.
Carnivore weight loss.
Yeah, well, keto, carnivore, whatever, doesn't matter. And moving forward with that because it has been absolutely, absolutely life-changing doing this, and more than just with weight, but with sorry, I'm really fading fast here. Um, it, what was I saying? I don't y'all.
Eh, For my example, looking at like
Oh, I got it.
life event changed, like what are you doing, and you can analyze it. One of the things
Ugh,
we love about tiny habits is that everybody always thinks that they go right to motivation. Well, you're not doing
mhm,
this because you're not motivated. Oh, you're not losing weight, right? Eating right because you're not motivated. No, you're actually very motivated. There's other factors, the ability to do things,
and your
a prompt.
prompt.
Actually, I just got to the chapter 4. It's like if you don't have a prompt, you don't do the behavior. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
So that's one of the things. Like I just talked about, like feeding Olive. I have a prompt, a big old dog saying, "Feed me."
you keep smacking the table, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Yeah, big old dog, feed me. That's my prompt. If she wasn't doing that, I get up and brush
You
my
wouldn't
teeth
feed
with.
her if she wasn't demanding you fed her.
Yeah,
So the way the model goes is it's B equals map behavior. So any type of behavior equals motivation plus your ability plus the prompt.
right.
And it goes through, we always do the motivation, like, how do I motivate myself more? But the problem is motivation does this. Like, how
Yeah.
many times have you guys been like, I'm super motivated, and 2 weeks later, it's like you don't have any motivation at all to do something.
Oh, that vegetable slicer looks great. I'm gonna get that. Use it a couple times and
You never use it again.
gathers dust in a cupboard.
Juicer, the better one.
Yeah, the juice is another one. It's because you're riding the motivation wave, and
Yeah,
really kind of goes into that it's better about what's your ability, what's your prompt, and then finally address motivation.
at the end. At the end. Sue, read Atomic Habits, extremely helpful. Is Tiny Habits much different? Tiny Habits,
Yeah.
hopefully James Clear never sees this, is much better. Uh, Atomic Habits gives you philosophy.
Okay, yeah.
Tiny Habits gives you the tools. And there's a little bit of a difference between how he sees Atomic Habits versus how BJ Fogg sees Tiny Habits. I would strongly suggest Tiny Habits, reading that. If you have not read it first over Atomic Habits, but Sue, you've already read it, Tiny Habits is even better.
I would say the difference is that tiny habits is tactical, day to day stuff you can do. Atomic habits is strategic. Where are you going? What are you guiding towards?
Yes and no. From a person that's read both books,
Yeah, well,
there
we
is
have
some
different.
difference with Atomic Habits and how he views things.
There is, but he has a lot of stuff that's very like the prompt in Tiny Habits. Like, what's your? It's called a cue in Atomic Habits. So it's something that gets your brain to do a behavior.
Yeah. But yeah, so Tiny Habits, it'll give you, like, after I shut the book for Atomic Habits, it was like, great. So I know I need to make all these changes. How do I actually do
Tiny
that?
Habits is how to kind of really do it.
Yes. And then Tiny Habits is every chapter. And please you guys do the exercises.
Yeah.
You're do yourself a disservice if you read the book and don't do the exercises at the end of each chapter. That is where you start developing the skills for the Tiny Habits. Yeah, you can do it on Audible. If you do on Audible, however, I have a suggestion. There is a PDF file you can download. Look at the PDF file that belongs to each chapter you read. The graphs are really helpful for really understanding what he's saying if you do the Audible version. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe Tiny Habits is part of Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
There you go.
So her brother has been driving to work and listening to Tiny Habits. Is like, I'm just not quite tracking. We're like, listen, what you should do is
Because I
listen.
gave him a
Give
hard
a copy.
copy.
He's already made it through with his commute in the last week, but he listens to it the way down. He looks at the book at the graphs, and then he listens to it again on the way home. And that way he kind of gets like, oh, this is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a good way. But you kind of need the graphs and pictures.
Yes, do really seriously do the exercises. It took me reading it twice, and I finally did the exercises the second time. I'm like, all right, this is where it's really clicking in here. All right, y'all, it is 10 o'clock. I am like going downhill fast. I'm going to go lay down. I think my fever might be back at this point. I appreciate you guys so very much.
One last thing. Look fast! Caterpillar! Love you guys. Clearly, I'm feeling great.
Yeah, Scott's feeling great. Amanda's not. Anyways, have a very, very good week. Cherry, thank you for being honest about calories. Do you think carnivore is easier to stick to than keto? Is broccoli really trying to kill us? I'll answer that real quick, Sherry. So, for people like myself and others who are highly, highly inflamed, going carnivore can help figure out, like, I think you should do probably 3 months of carnivore, and then you can try to taper things back in. I think that at times you're gonna find that, like, I had some last week, nightshades, I do not do well with. So do I think they're really trying to kill us? Not necessarily, they're really just trying to survive. But what you might do fine with, I might not, and it's about finding what works. So I think that that's the big thing. And is carnivore easier to stick to? If you're doing like clean keto, I think they're about the same. It just depends on your, like, psychologically how much you're trying to mitigate what you're eating. Hopefully that helps. Y'all, I'm gonna go lay down. I'm feeling real
We
tired.
need to be a word. If you want to go, I'll find the
Oh,
coffee
yes.
maker.
Oh, here, let me find it real quick. Thank you for reminding me.
We said we put this in the description. Sorry.
Kitchenware, materials, knife. Where the heck is blenders, oven?
Blenders and kitchen systems. Well, no. Okay, tell you what. Why don't we put it in the
How
description of
about
the video?
coffee? We'll just type in coffee real quick. Here we go.
Well,
This
that
is
looks like it
one
right there.
dual. This is the one we got.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, here, I'm gonna link this one. This is from their website. I actually got mine off Amazon. Boom. There we go. Yeah. Whoops. Is that dual brew? Yeah, because it says iced and it does hot coffee.
Yeah. And you can also do like K-cups and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
actually a nice big coffee pot. It's a 64-ounce coffee pot.
Yeah, I think that one's not as big as ours, but the only difference is it's bigger. Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna go lay down.
Love y'all.
Bye.